The snow beat hard against the wall when Jon received the news. The letter was short, written in haste, but laden with despair. Sansa has been murdered. Joffrey killed her in front of the entire court after great humiliation. Jon's fingers froze, but not from the cold. Pain pierced his chest like a dagger. He saw his sister's face, sweet and dreamy, dragged away by cruel guards, exposed to humiliation before her heart was pierced by a royal crossbow. He did not ask for permission. That very night he mounted his horse, with Ghost by his side, took one last look at the wall, and left. Jon rode through the frozen lands of the north. He remembered the news of Ned, his father, beheaded as a traitor. Now, Sansa, killed like a broken toy in front of a sadistic crowd. The oath to the Night's Watch, which had always bound him to honor, now felt like a dead weight in the face of the brutality committed by the Lannisters. The rage in his chest turned into purpose. He was no longer a brother of the Watch. He was a wolf seeking vengeance. In Riverrun, Catelyn Stark read and reread the letter with trembling hands. "Lady Stark, there was no way to stop it. Your name holds no value before the boy king. I am so sorry. May the old gods and the new punish me for my slowness. Tyrion." Beside her, Littlefinger, who had brought Tyrion's message, hesitated as he apologized. "Catelyn, I wasn't fast enough. She called for you, and I wasn't there." Catelyn pressed her fingers to her mouth, trying to stifle the scream rising in her throat, but she screamed and bloodied her hand. Tears streamed down unchecked, like a river bursting its banks. "No! Not my daughter! Why did they do this to my sweet Sansa?" Catelyn fell to her knees as the coffins were opened. Sansa's remains lay beside Ned's bones, wrapped in dark velvet. "She was just a girl," she whispered, her face buried in her hands. Littlefinger knelt beside her, his eyes red but dry. "I brought them back, Catelyn. I did what I could. Lord Tyrion sent his condolences." She turned on him with raw fury. Did you?" she screamed. "You betrayed Ned. You opened the gates for our enemies to attack every one of us. Because of you, Ned is dead, and because of you, I lost Sansa too." She wept and accused. Littlefinger bowed his head. "I did not come for redemption. I came for forgiveness, and for love." He drew a small bundle from his cloak. Inside was a blue ribbon, still stained with blood. It was hers. They kept it as a trophy. "I thought you might want it." Catelyn held the ribbon with trembling hands, her eyes fixed on nothing. The silence in the tent was absolute, broken only by the sound of her grief. "You would die if I commanded it, Peter, but for now, stay. I want you here until Robb decides the fate you, and everyone in King's Landing, will face after this cruelty." He nodded. "I will stay, if you grant me your protection. And I still have something to say, but only before Robb, and only if you promise me safety." Jon's arrival at the Northern Army camp was silent. The soldiers watched him in surprise, a bastard from the north, covered in snow and shadow. Robb emerged from the main tent upon hearing the news. The two brothers locked eyes. The king in the north was weary, his eyes hollow with sorrow, his hands raw from the anger he had unleashed on stones and trees. "You deserted?" Robb asked, his voice barely audible. Jon simply nodded. "I couldn't stay, not after what they did to her." Robb embraced him without a word, but the reunion would be brief. There was too much pain between them. Then the two were informed that Littlefinger had valuable information to trade for his safety, and that their mother awaited them in the tent. When Jon entered after Robb, Catelyn froze at the sight of him. "The bastard is now a deserter," she spat bitterly. "You didn't protect your brother, and you weren't there to protect my daughter. You have no right to be here." Jon lowered his eyes. "I would have died for her." Robb intervened. "He stays. He's my blood. And now it's war." Catelyn turned away, her tears still burning. "So be it. May the blood of every Lannister stain every stone in King's Landing." And Littlefinger, still silent, rose. "Let it be clear that I never intended for Sansa to die. Joffrey is mad, and I am the first to want him removed from power. I came for your mother. So let us speak of Arya." "She's disappeared," said Littlefinger. After Ned's death, the girl fled. Not even the most skilled spies could find her. But I know she's alive. Catelyn clutched her chest as if struck by another blow. Another daughter lost. Littlefinger continued. There's more. Tyrion will send Myrcella to Dorne, seeking reinforcements through marriage. The time to act is now. The hatred in Robb's eyes was pure. They thought they had faced wolves before. They barely heard our howls. Robb thanked Littlefinger for the news but imprisoned him as soon as he finished speaking. You will live, Lord Baelish, but you will pay for your betrayal of my father. The vengeance arrived in a dark wooden crate, delivered to the gates of King's Landing. When the boy king opened it, the head of Jaime Lannister, still fresh and coated in salt, tumbled onto the marble. This was the gift the North sent after they murdered Sansa. Cersei screamed, a sound both animal and hollow. Joffrey staggered, covered in vomit and tears. None of them could react. When the news reached Harrenhal, Tywin smashed his cup against the wall. We retreat. Gather the banner lords and contact the other houses. We will concentrate all our forces at the castle. Meanwhile, Robb decided to join forces with Renly's army, pledging support against Stannis if Renly aided them against the Lannisters. Renly's camp to the south trembled at the arrival of the northern allies. Jon Snow was the first to cross the boundary, Ghost at his side. In his voice, firmness and fury. We come to destroy the lion. We come for justice. Renly smiled. And I welcome the wolf into my tent. The negotiations were tense, but effective. The North would have its independence if they won. Renly would have support against Stannis. And together, they would crush the Lannister lineage until no name or sigil remained. Meanwhile, Jon and Robb prepared ambushes in the surrounding areas. Using the terrain and fog as allies, they attacked Lannister supply lines. Now, brother, they will feel us, said Robb. Jon nodded. And they will see that the North does not forget. On a moonless night, the wolves howled, and the northern men fell upon their enemies like ghosts. The victory was complete. Tywin's forces, disorganized, were forced to retreat. The North's victories grew. The Stark name once again inspired fear. The union of Robb and Renly's armies turned the tide of the war. Castles were retaken. Lords of the Trident swore fealty anew. They started the war, Renly declared in every speech, but we will be the ones to end it. Jon was named commander of the vanguard. You are my battle wolf, said Robb. You will leave nothing standing in your path. And Jon, with Longclaw on his back, led the charges with fury and grief. For Sansa, he murmured. For Arya. For our father. As Tywin retreated to protect King's Landing, Jon and Robb knew the time was now. The war was alive, burning. But more than anything, it was personal. The Starks sought not just victory, they wanted justice, they wanted vengeance, and they were willing to burn the world to get it. Meanwhile, news arrived like thunder at dawn. The ravens brought ill tidings. Theon Greyjoy, Ned Stark's former ward, had taken Winterfell with his father's Ironborn. Robb raged, striking the council table with such force that he broke a corner. I treated him like a brother, he roared. Faced with the threat, the young wolf made the difficult decision to split his forces. Jon would remain with Renly to finish the war against the Lannisters, while Robb would lead the march back north. Winterfell needs me. Half the soldiers must stay, he said, and no one dared oppose him. Robb's arrival was as fierce as a wolf's howl in a blizzard. The Ironborn forces were scattered, and he used this to his advantage. During the final fight, he found Theon in the castle's main courtyard. The two clashed amid blood and snow, swords ringing like echoes of the past. Why, Theon? Robb shouted, swinging his sword against the traitor's shield. You were my brother. Gasping, Theon replied, because I was never part of anything. Not the North, not the sea. I wanted to prove I was worth something. Now I can do that for my father. But it was too late. Robb did not hesitate. There's no turning back, and with a clean strike, Theon's head rolled across Winterfell's frozen ground. As the North was reclaimed, Jon Snow fulfilled his part of the pact with Renly. Leading a mixed force of Northmen and Southern Knights, he launched a lightning attack against Lannister loyalists. But the true challenge came at night. Ghost growled and ran, guiding Jon to Renly's tent. There, A shadow with flaming eyes, shaped like Stannis' face, slithered toward his brother's tent. Jon, wielding his Valyrian steel sword, advanced without hesitation. He had seen such things before in the north. The ancient blade pierced the specter with a roar. The shadow screamed as if it had a soul before dissolving into the air. When the dust settled, Renly looked at Jon with damp eyes. "You saved my life. I don't know how to thank you." Brienne, kneeling nearby, pressed a fist to her chest in respect. That thing. It had Stannis' face. Melisandre, far away, felt something slip from her control. "This was not meant to happen," she murmured. The priestess's faith was shaken. And then came the final war against Tywin Lannister. Renly's forces, now strengthened by Northmen and hearts inflamed with justice, marched toward King's Landing. Tywin organized resistance but was caught in a strategic ambush led by Jon. The battle was brutal, but the lions were weakened and cornered. Joffrey, hiding like a rat behind the walls, tried to flee, but Jon found him. "For Sansa! For my father!" And with one stroke, the young king's head rolled across the throne room. The remaining Lannisters were swiftly eliminated. Cersei tried to poison herself but was captured first. Renly showed no mercy. "For every act of cruelty," he said as he gave the order. Tywin, Kevan, Lancel, all were executed. Only Tyrion survived. "He tried to protect Sansa," Jon reminded them, "and returned the remains of my father and sister. For that, Renly spared him. You will live, dwarf, but you will live at the Wall, far from the power that destroyed your house, and take the boy Tommen with you." Tyrion did not protest. Meanwhile, Myrcella was already far away in Dorne, and nothing more could be done about that. The Lannisters were broken. The war, however, was not yet over. Stannis' forces marched with fervor, fueled by fire and blind faith. But now, the wolf and the stag stood united. The battle against Stannis was bloody, but the creature that defended him was destroyed, and Melisandre weakened. Without her magic, Stannis fell in battle. His head was delivered to Renly, who looked at it with sorrow. "My brother, blinded by prophecy. No one wanted you here. No one loved you. Now the realm will have a true leader. With the great thrones of the kingdom empty, it was time to divide the spoils." Renly was crowned King of the Seven Kingdoms, though he ruled only the south. Honoring the pact with the north, he recognized Robb's independence as king in the north. 2 crowns, 2 kingdoms, but an alliance forged in war and vengeance. The lands were reorganized, and the scars of war began to heal with justice. Peace seemed possible, though ravens never ceased to circle the battlefields. But not all were free of consequences. Jon Snow knew he had deserted the Night's Watch. Even after fighting bravely, even after saving entire kingdoms, he had sworn an oath. With a heavy heart, he bid Robb farewell. "I must face my punishment. The king in the north tried to stop him. You've done more than any brother of the Watch." But Jon smiled sadly. "That's exactly why. Duty. Duty is the death of love." And so he left. Jon returned to the Wall and accepted his fate.